everybody, I'm back with another vlog, and today I wanted to ask you, have you ever noticed when you are charged up about something and you avoid it, it comes back visiting you time and time again until you actually address it? And so many of us try and avoid that which we find emotionally painful within ourselves. And today's vlog is about the benefits within bullying. And people, it's got such a big charge attached to it worldwide. There's a huge movement that works on removing the bully from the victim and re-educating the bully so that that can all sort itself out. But within my work, I've noticed that it runs far deeper than that, and that by doing that, it still creates an imbalance. Now, we've all had moments where we've been bullied, whether it's a road rage or a person that interacts with us casually or within our work or within our family, our social life. We all experience it. And what we don't realize is that we all have our moments of bullying ourselves, where, because bullying comes in many different shapes and sizes and forms. So today I'm going to give you the opportunity to look at bullying in a new light and to understand where it comes from and what it can actually create that is very precious and beneficial to all. And I'm going to use the story, I use this often when I'm consulting. I use the story of what I call Susie and Johnny. And let's set up this scenario, because it's not always boy on girl, but I'm going to use boy on girl as an example. And of course, bullying happens in playgrounds around the world. Let's start there, because it happens even when you leave the playground. And let's say we've got Susie and Johnny in that playground. Have you noticed that when they're there, there's a dynamic going on? It's a two-way dynamic where they sense each other. In fact, this is the basis for all relationships. That's what I love about this. But they sense each other. And let's say Johnny is the perpetrator and he almost has no eyes for anybody else. He doesn't notice Mary sitting next to Susie in the playground. He only sees Susie and only targets her. Have you noticed that it's always one person being targeted, or a certain person that's always being bullied? And in a sense, she's only got eyes for him as she tries to defend herself and change things as well in her own way. But this is how it works. The reason why there's that attraction and repulsion happening within Susie and Johnny is that there are parts of themselves, within themselves, that they are judging as unloved and unlovable. So unacceptable to be or to even admit that they have in them. And whilst that happens, it creates a situation where they almost attract that which they judge in themselves. But I'm going to give it a bigger picture. Imagine you've got Susie and Johnny there in the playground. Now, the two-way dynamic is part of a cycle of consciousness. And they are actually one. They're connected as one. And this is the story that Johnny is by way of example running. So Johnny is running. The world is a very unsafe place, and it's so unsafe that unless you step in a place of aggression and unless you protect yourself violently, I'm going to the extreme. There are various degrees of bullying, but I'll go to the extreme Johnny one. But any part of that cycle where a person like Johnny is protecting himself, it's because he's running this story internally, that it's unsafe, and if you're a wuss, you're not going to get to the other side. So you have to protect yourself and be extra aggressive, extra whatever, to make sure that you and what matters to you in the life around you and the people that are important to you are okay and safe. So that's the story on one side of a cycle that Johnny is running. This is a story that Susie's running. The world's a very unsafe place. And unless you're kind and gentle and thoughtful and loving and giving, then it's become so dangerous, and that it's really important to make sure that everybody steps into a place of gentleness and kindness and peace and so on. And so can you hear that they're sitting on the opposite sides of that argument? And that's because Susie is not seeing any benefits in being anything than soft, gentle, kind, thoughtful, philanthropic. And Johnny is not seeing any benefits in being anything but forceful and aggressive and all the opposite to what she is. So you've got that dynamic, and it's an attraction. They attract each other for the very things that they dislike or even despise in themselves. And what one doesn't realize is that they are each other's inadvertent teachers. So if you take Johnny away from Susie, protect Susie, and try to re-educate Johnny, you've actually taken away the very essence of what they can create together with the most powerful skills if they're given them. And what will happen is Johnny will continue to attract similar people to Susie. So Susie, in different ways and forms, will carry on in his life, and Susie will carry on attracting Johnny until both of them understand that there's a very special gift and lesson within the dynamic that they are vibrating at and working at. And that's the secret to bullying. So you're going to say, well, how on earth could that ever work? And as you know, I work with people all over the world with this, and I've worked with many bully victim scenarios and watched amazing, powerful conversations come out of these two dynamics going on. Amazing conversations. They always say to me, it's an authentic conversation. It's a conversation that I never thought I could enjoy. And here it is. They're talking in more powerful ways. They're not roller coastering from one extreme emotion to the other. They've been able to take the noise and distraction of those extreme thoughts and emotions and bring them into centered manageability. You go, how do they do that? Well, I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell, because obviously this is a skill and all skills require practice. So that's why people come to me. They come to gain those skills and start practicing them. But the first step is for Johnny and Susie to start understanding because they've got a long list, each of them. Susie's list is that there's only benefits in being kind, gentle, thoughtful, soft, and all those, and peaceful. And Johnny's got an equally as long list saying there are more benefits to being aggressive and assertive and going out there and claiming your space and almost declaring war. So they've both got those lists, but the secret here is that when they can start listing, because it's not denying that their list isn't valid to them, and isn't valid because there are certain aspects to those lists that are the truth. They're just in extreme charge, so they're extremely distorted in a sense, and it's their perception. But when they can start equally listing the disadvantages of that, well, we know that, but the advantages of being the opposite. So Susie, when she can start saying, okay, what are the disadvantages of always being soft, gentle, kind, thoughtful, and all those? and start listing. It could be the disadvantages are that it makes her, by being always soft, gentle and kind, it means that she finds it difficult to have faith in anything that's anything but that. So she would lose out on skills, on stepping into new, say, hobbies that require you to be aggressive. Let's give an example. Sports are very aggressive. You're beating an opponent and winning a game, and it's almost a form of war. And if you've got a team, let's take hockey or ice hockey or any of those contact sports, they're a form of great aggression. So Susie's unlikely to be able to benefit from stepping into there, because she'll avoid that at all costs. So she's losing out on physical skills, she's losing out on social skills as well, strategic skills, negotiation skills, obviously assertive skills. So you go into all those different charges, and where equally, you make an equally as long list as to where it hasn't served her. And of course you do the same with Johnny. He starts writing down or listing where it equally doesn't serve him to be assertive, but yes, to be aggressive, and then where it equally serves him to be the opposite. So he will start going, okay, by being soft and gentle, it gives me new listening skills. It gives me new reasoning skills. It gives me the ability to become more intuitive, or whatever it is. So both of them start listing that. And of course, the secret is to start that list in their value system, which I work obviously to begin with. And the most amazing thing starts happening, because both of them end up, from being polarized with these charges of bully and victim, they both end up in this place of reversing those polarized thoughts and feelings and becoming appropriately assertive. So that Susie can now say, in her gentleness, this isn't a character change, but in her gentleness saying, you know what? You don't have permission to overstep my boundaries. And she's now having these powerful conversations. And Johnny's having the conversation, you know what? I think this is bull dust, but you know, I understand that in you being like this, it's creating many benefits. So maybe it's brought his empathy out. And he's going, yeah, you know, I can understand why you're doing that. So both of them start adjusting the fact that they see equal amount of benefit in being soft, gentle and kind, as there is benefit in their being assertive, and at times you need to be angry depending on what's happening in that situation. And this is what I love the most, is when they really work these skills, they find that the appropriate amount of energy and the appropriate words come out their mouths that is in relation to what it is they're dealing with. So if they're dealing with somebody that's overstepped boundaries mildly, then there's a softness and a gentleness where they go, okay, this is not on and I won't have it anymore. But if they have somebody that's done something that really is not very safe, then from a place of assertiveness rather than judgment and fear, their conversation will go, you do not have permission to be like that, and I suggest you severely look at yourself and step into a place of understanding you've overstepped your boundaries in my area. And that's the difference. I'm not saying that from a place of, and I'm going to punch your lights out. It's from a place of acceptance, appreciation, and very spontaneous love with my boundaries in place. And then when you start realizing that this dynamic is there and they're each other's inadvertent teachers, then the most amazing things start happening to your life as you understand that every challenge that involves feeling compromised has a gift in it, and that person or that circumstance or those people or those sets of circumstances have a very precious hidden gift or many gifts within it that provide you with skills, techniques, experience and exposure that you would not have been able to expand on, experience, appreciate and step forward in your power with if everybody had been only one side of that continuum. Because that tension and release of being different is what grows us. It's what makes us step more and more into our authentic selves. So when I'm challenged by somebody these days, or I challenge somebody, I immediately sit working this set of questions backwards and forwards as I eventually, on a conscious and an unconscious level, understand that there is equal amount of value to loss and equal amount of loss to gain. So looking forward to getting your feedback on this as I wish you a day filled with inspiration as you look for the hidden gift within being challenged. And see you in the next few days for the next blog. Bye.